Good evening, everyone. Welcome May 12th, 2021. Welcome everyone to this very special event, the Centralina Regional Council Region of Excellence Awards, a retirement celebration for Mike Mannis and the Board of Delegates meeting. I'm Bobby Compton, Chairman of the Centralina Board. I'd like to thank you for being with us today. Welcome Region of Excellence Awards recipients and judges. Welcome Centralina Economic Development District Board members. Welcome Centralina delegates, alternates, and our staff. The event is being recorded and live streamed on Centralina's YouTube channel. I'll now turn it over to our Executive Director, Geraldine Gardner, to get us started.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to offer my own welcome to all of our delegates, our district board members, winners, and guests who are joining us this evening. We've got an exciting program ahead of us tonight, and we're going to start off our celebration this evening with our Region of Excellence Awards presentation. This annual program recognizes outstanding achievements by our local governments, community organizations, and leaders whose collective work embodies our mission of expanding opportunity and improving quality of life. Back in January, we solicited nominations for awards in 7 categories. We sought out innovative projects and programs and individuals who contributed to significant and positive advancements in the region throughout 2020. The response was record-breaking. We received 44 nominations, which made it a difficult task for our judges to select the winners from such an outstanding group of nominees. And speaking of our judges, I'd like to thank our main panel, composed of Dr. Tom Barth, Professor and MPA Director at UNC at Charlotte, Vicki Bott, former Grants Development Director at Centralina, and Michael Johnson, former City of Statesville Council Member and Centralina Chairman. And a special thank you to our Clean Fuels category judges, Michael McDonald, UPS Corporate Automotive and Senior Director of Sustainability and Government Affairs, Stephen Whaley, Propane Education and Research Council, and Mike Raley, CNG Business Development, Piedmont Natural Gas. And now I'd like to introduce Vicki Bott to present the first awards. Vicki?
Thank you, Geraldine. The recipient of the Cross Community Collaboration Award convened a range of government, nonprofit, and private entities to build relationships, set goals, and solve a common problem. This year's winner is Mecklenburg County and their public health community partnerships during COVID-19. Mecklenburg County officials began planning early for a public health crisis that would require emergency and humanitarian efforts on a county-wide basis. As the pandemic began to spread, the county declared a state of emergency, and the county public health officials developed community partnerships through the Emergency Operations Center, the EOC, to strategize on inclusive responses to the emerging threat. The EOC, the Central Command and Control Facility, consists of representatives from Mecklenburg County Public Health, Fire, Police, and Medic, working in coordination with the City of Charlotte, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools, area hospital systems, the county's municipalities, and the state of North Carolina to ensure continuity of operations and the health and safety of the community. These partnerships facilitated a coordinated response to the crisis and helped mitigate its impact. The recipient of the Local Government Innovation Award utilized strategic and creative thinking to deliver new and different methods for problem solving. This year's winner is the City of Salisbury's 2020 Virtual Cheerwine Festival. The Cheerwine Festival in downtown Salisbury is a beloved annual event that celebrates the popular soft drinks roots. The festival attracts more than 100,000 visitors, provides business opportunities for local merchants, and raises funds for Rowan County nonprofits. When COVID restrictions began, Cheerwine and the City of Salisbury decided to cancel the in-person 2020 Cheerwine Festival, and instead, they held a virtual festival on May 16th for participants to enjoy from home. The event was a full-fledged entertainment experience that enabled participants to have a night of fun, music, and of course, ice-cold cheerwine. The shift to a virtual platform kept the tradition alive and the community safely connected. The recipient of the Improving Quality of Life Award developed or implemented a project that enhanced quality of life in their community. This year's winner is the City of Kannapolis for their downtown revitalization. In 2015, the City of Kannapolis launched a bold plan to purchase the entire 50 acres of downtown and develop a master plan to attract private investment. Over the next 5 years, the city invested $113 million, with the expectation it could attract more than $374 million in private investment over the next 10 years. From the completion of the Atrium Health Ballpark to the construction of new mixed-use development, the city is on track to create a vibrant downtown destination. These bold, progressive projects revitalize the city of Kannapolis, increase tourism, and grow their tax base. Now I'll turn it over to Tom to introduce the next awards.
Thank you, Vicki. And let me just say quickly, as a director of a graduate program that is producing future leaders in the nonprofit and government sectors, it's really been inspiring to go through this process and sharing these with my students who are future leaders. So my first award is the Clean Cities Award. The recipient of the Clean Cities Award reduced the consumption of traditional transportation, fossil fuels through innovative projects, policies, and investments. This year's winner is the Charlotte Department of Transportation for their work in meeting goals in the city's Strategic Energy Action Plan. The Department of Transportation has completed a number of activities to support plan implementation, including purchasing 8 electric vehicles, proactively installing electric vehicle chargers across city-owned properties, and working with ChargePoint for public access. They've also trained employees on electric vehicle charging protocol and are exploring options with heavy-duty equipment. These actions will reduce greenhouse gases, increase charging infrastructure, and create a friendlier EV city. Next award is the recipient of the Aging in Action Award, which has been assisted adults in their community age with choice, dignity, and independence. This year's Aging in Action Award is presented to the daughter of Shirley Wiggins, Julie Ray, in memory of her mother's extraordinary advocacy for the needs of older adults and individuals with disabilities in the region. Mrs. Wiggins was a passionate volunteer who served as a Region F Aging Advisory Committee member, representing Gaston County for 15 years. She was also a North Carolina Senior Tar Heel Delegate for 12 years. She served on the Gaston County Home and Community Care Block Grant Committee and the Gaston Council on Aging Board. At the onset of the pandemic, Shirley led a county-wide effort to purchase and distribute masks to long-term care facilities where they were in short supply. Shirley will always be remembered for her selfless dedication to serving older adults and advocating for their needs for her hometown to the White House. She will be greatly missed in the region. The next award is the James D. Prosser Award, Excellence in Government Leadership, which exemplifies and promotes outstanding leadership and high ethical standards. We're honoring 2 awardees this year for their service to communities of various sizes. So a small community and a large community. This year's small community winner is Leslie Tug Deason, Parks and Recreation Director for the town of Stanley. Tug is a passionate and tireless advocate for public parks for his community. From campaign to save a local school gym to helping the town purchase their own park, Tug always goes beyond the call of duty. He raised more than $1 million in grants and donations for the park and personally oversaw the improvements. The community honored his efforts by naming the baseball field after him. We honor Tug for his leadership and spirited commitment to the residents of Stanley. The second awardee in the large community category is Mecklenburg County Manager Dina Diorio. Few leaders in the history of Mecklenburg County have faced the challenges Dina has faced during her time as county manager, especially in the last year. Over the past 7 years, Dina has taken a strategic approach to implementing services and initiatives that ensure Mecklenburg County is operating at the highest level of innovation, efficiency, and customer service. Dina is a true leader who has earned the trust and respect of residents and the business community through her collaborative, transparent work style. Working with the County Board of Commissioners, she keeps residents safe and healthy while supporting a thriving business community. Now I'll introduce Michael to present our final set of awards.
Thank you, Tom. This year's special COVID-19 Resiliency Awards are given to recipients for their ability to overcome adversity, continue services, and promote safety during the pandemic. They're recognizing 3 awardees who were nominated across our various award categories. The first award goes to the Remote Learning Center at E.E. Waddell Community Center in Albemarle. One of the biggest challenges the past year was determining how to educate children safely. When Albemarle Parks and Recreation staff learned that educating children would not happen in classrooms, they rallied together to create options to support the community. In September 2020, the Remote Learning Center was created at the E.E. Waddell Community Center. Staffed by the department, the center provided children with a support system for education, social growth, and physical activity in the remote learning environment. It focused on children who were at risk of falling behind without the structure, resources, and support they would get in the classroom. Albemarle Parks and Recreation received support and praise from the Stanley County Schools for this innovative and collaborative approach that ensured continuity of learning during unprecedented times. Our second Resiliency Award is the Mecklenburg County COVID-19 Policy Group, which was formed to ensure a coordinated, comprehensive approach to managing the pandemic. The policy group brought together a wide range of organizations to respond to different community needs, including information and education, testing, vaccinations, and mask distribution. Overall, the policy group's activities allowed for a significantly superior response to the pandemic that could not have been achieved if the organizations had operated in silos. The last Resiliency Award goes to the town of Davidson and their COVID-19 business support. Like so many communities across the country, COVID-19 upended the way business and community matters were handled. In response, the town, led by Economic Development Manager Kim Fleming, quickly initiated collaborative communication between Mecklenburg County, the town of Davidson, businesses, and the Davidson community to gather meaningful input on priorities for businesses to reopen safely. As a result, Davidson businesses were able to adapt their business models to be more resilient in the face of unprecedented change. COVID-19 challenged all of our communities and businesses. So we wanted to give a special COVID-19 resiliency recognition to the following recipients for their work during the pandemic. The Cabarrus County Vaccine Transportation Program, Comfort Call Collaborative in Union County for combating social isolation in seniors. John Lewis, CATS CEO, for his swift action to maintain a safe and effective transit system, Masks for Gastonia initiative, and the Mount Holly Small Business Emergency Loan Program. We congratulate all of the COVID-19 resiliency winners this year.
Thank you so much, Michael, and our entire panel of judges. We are just so thrilled to be able to give these deserving awardees the recognition that they deserve for not only these projects, but for leading their communities through a very tough year last year. So we salute the awardees as well as all of our nominees for your fantastic work. Please be on the lookout for profiles and insights on all of our winners that will be shared through our Insights blog, on our Centralina website, and promoted on social media. We really want to take the time to lift up the good practice and the innovative ideas in a much deeper way than we were able to share with you tonight, and hope that inspires all of our communities across the region to strive for excellence. So thank you again to our judges. And now we're going to turn to the second part of our celebration tonight. And we're really delighted to recognize a 40-plus year career of our colleague, Mike Manis. Now, all of you know Mike is our Director of Community Economic Development. He also serves as the President and COO, of the Centralina Economic Development District. Now, I wish we were doing this under normal circumstances tonight, to have all of you and Mike and his family together in one place to make this celebration a little less formal and a little more fun and a reflection of Mike's spirit. But when he shared the news of his retirement with us, Mike also shared this picture that you see on the screen here from around the time of his high school graduation. And I think I can speak for all of us in saying that it's really wonderful to see that same look of joy and optimism on Mike's face today as he starts this new phase and chapter of his life. So I have a few slides with quotes and tributes and a little fun, but then we'll turn to some more formal recognition of his accomplishments. So Mike's energy and enthusiasm for his work spreads like wildfire. And the beneficiaries of his passion and commitment to the job are our awesome Community Economic Development Department staff, both past and present. This small but mighty team has done a lot and continues to do a lot based on Mike's wonderful leadership. You can all read their tributes here, but I think their words point to the fact that Mike is an inspirational leader with a strong set of personal and professional values. He's led his team by example and has never been hesitant to champion their work to not only one, but two boards, and to advocate for their needs, however small or large, from getting a new computer to funds for them to extend their professional development. Now, while the work we do at Centralina matters tremendously, and I'm always proud to cheerlead and to brag on the great work that we do, one of our core values is taking care of ourselves and each other. And I'm especially proud that that Centralina was there for Mike, not just in the good times and in celebrating his accomplishments, but also to support him and his family during the challenging times. Mike's positive attitude, his commitment to his work, and his dedication to his family inspires our team both then and now. Now, anyone who has ever tried to have a quick conversation with Mike about economic development knows they should kind of settle in for a conversation that's really like a master class in the field. And although he's a certified expert, Mike is humble and he shares his knowledge with grace. He's always got his eye on the strategic big picture, but then is never afraid to jump in and roll up his sleeves and assist projects on the ground in our communities. He's been an asset to our local government staff, our region's economic developers, and our elected officials. He's also worked across department boundaries at Centralina, collaborating and developing major projects and plans that will continue to shape our region for decades to come. So I learned pretty quickly that the economic use of words is not in Mike's strong suit. He loves language, storytelling, and sharing his knowledge. But we asked our team to share 3 words about Mike, and I think this word cloud pretty much says it all. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Chairman, for some more formal parts of the celebration.
Thank you, Geraldine. Thank you. I think Mike's high school picture looked a lot like mine when I was in high school, so we won't do that. I have a proclamation honoring the retirement of Mike Manis. Whereas Mr. Mike Manis has announced his intention to retire as Community Economic Development Director effective May 31st, 2021. And whereas during a career spanning more than 40 years, Mr. Manis has contributed greatly to improving the region's prosperity by shaping its economic development plans and supporting local governments and security resources for transformational projects in their communities. And whereas Mr. Manis has led Centralina's Community Economic Development Department, CED, and served as President and Chief Operating Officer of the Centralina Economic Development District for 10 years. And whereas under his leadership, CED developed the award-winning Prosperity for Greater Charlotte Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, which outlines an approach to coordinating growth and prosperity that builds on the region's strengths, prioritizes key industry clusters, and emphasizes collaboration. And whereas Mr. Manis led the economic component group of the 2012-2014 $5 million HUD Sustainable Communities Planning Grant for Greater Charlotte Bi-State region of 14 North and South Carolina counties involving over 85 municipal jurisdictions. And whereas through his partnership with the U.S. Economic Development Administration, Mr. Manis has helped secure millions of dollars in public infrastructure and assistance funding for critical projects such as Advanced Technology Center at Rowan Cabarrus Community College. And whereas Mr. Manis was accredited by the International Economic Development Council in 2006 as a certified economic developer and has since become regionally and nationally recognized for his knowledge and expertise in the field of community and economic development. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Centralina Board of Delegates and the Centralina EDD Board hereby honor Mike Manis for his long and distinguished career in community and economic development and public service in the Carolinas and for his commitment, dedication, and leadership to Centralina Regional Council and the region. Be it further proclaimed, the Centralina extends to Mike its sincere best wishes for a happy, healthy, fulfilling, well-deserved retirement, proclaimed this 12th day of May 2021, signed Bobby Compton, Miles Atkins, and Geraldine Gardner. Mike Manis, congratulations.
Virtual claps.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman, can we have a virtual standing ovation?
Absolutely, well deserved, yes. Now I'd like to introduce Mayor Atkins, Mayor Miles Atkins, the chair of the Centralina Economic Development District Board for remarks. Mayor Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'll make it very brief. I think the words that Geraldine shared with everyone this evening in this proclamation, Mike, really reflect the impact that you've had on our region and all the people that you've touched. And I just want to say on behalf of the board that I serve on with you and all that are on this call, we really just thank you for everything that you've done. But we're so really happy for you because we know this is a new chapter, a very exciting new chapter. You're going to be missed. You're going to be very well remembered. And but we're going to be very excited to come see you in person and really celebrate give you the kind of celebration and send off that we'd really like to give you. But we are so happy for you and we wish you all the best and just really have a great new chapter in your life. I know it's going to be a wonderful retirement for you.
Thank you, Mayor Atkins. I'd like to open it up now for comments from both boards, the Centralina Board and the Economic Development Board. Any board member would like to speak regarding Mike, the floor is yours.
Bobby, this is this is Bill Thunberg. I'm the oldest rat in the barn, and have worked with Mike and for the entire 10 years. And when you said he was certified, I had some other thoughts other than economic development. But Mike has worked tirelessly, and a lot of you know this, in sickness and in health, for the prosperity for our region, and I feel a lot of emotion for the fact that he has done that and put everything that he's had into trying to be successful for the citizens of the region that the CED serves. And so it's been an honor for me to work with him, and I appreciate everything that he's taught me about economic development. And I know that he is just going to have a great retirement, because he deserves a great retirement. And I wish him all the joy in the world, and thank him for his service to the community.
Thank you, Bill Thunberg. Anyone else from the Economic Development Board or our own Centralina Board?
Yes, this is Jarvis Woodburn. Congratulations, Mike, on reaching this milestone in your life. It's been my pleasure to work with you. Learned a lot from you, and wish you the best.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Cliff Brumfield from Lincoln County. Thank you, Mike. We are sure going to miss you, buddy, but also want to just point out all that not only you've done for the region, but what you've done for the field of economic development in your leadership, and all that you brought to the table. Buddy, you very much deserve the wonderful time ahead of you in your retirement. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this is William Morgan from Statesville. I was appointed by the Speaker of the House to the Economic Development Partnership Board of North Carolina back in October. And I visited several communities and economic development entities and partnerships in Western North Carolina. And there's one common thread. They all go, "Do you know Mike Maness?" So you have made an impact throughout the entire area, the entire state. We certainly appreciate all your efforts, and we wish you a wonderful retirement. But I know you're not going to sit on your hands. You'll do something to stay busy.
Thank you, Councilman Morgan.
This is Donnie Hicks from Gaston County. I've known Mike for a long time, since he started at Centralina, and he's always been the thought leader for the region. We have a lot of research that gets done about specific topics, but the COG, and especially Mike, have led all our big picture studies, like the SED studies, and all that type of work that benefits the entire region. And we're going to miss that, because he really truly has been a thought leader for us, and I appreciate all the work you've done over the years.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, this is Astra Chirinos. I'm a former member of the Centralina board, and I just wanted to express my excitement, my appreciation. As one of the few Spanish-speaking members of the board, Mike was incredibly instrumental with his knowledge and very generous with his experience and support to help us create the Latin American Economic Development Corporation. During the time that I was on the board, and I was the Latin American Chamber of Commerce executive director. And I just will never forget how he was an amazing navigator, has been to not only all our Mecklenburg County and all the region, but also to a lot of the newcomers and immigrants in our community, and always supportive and generous. So we look forward to seeing him and celebrating with a margarita soon somewhere.
That's great. Include all of us on that margarita.
Oh, we will.
Yes. Anyone else?
So this is Karen Alexander in Salisbury, North Carolina, and I would just like to say that Mike has left a phenomenal legacy around economic development, particularly realizing and promoting the idea of inclusiveness in terms of across boundaries and looking at our whole region as a whole, And that is so important, and it's getting to be more and more important every day as we navigate through one challenge after another. So I just wanted to say kudos for a great career and for everything that you've done for our region. And I wish you a great retirement.
Thank you, Mayor Alexander. I also want to open it up to staff, Centralina staff, who has worked with Mike, some for quite a few years. Any staff members, welcome your comments, and other guests that are online with us. Any staff or guests?
We've had a number of comments in the chat, too.
Well, yeah, a lot of people have chatted, yes. Mike can take the rest of the night to read those.
You know, if I could, this is Tom Bartham, UNC Charlotte, and, you know, I said this in the chat room. I think I'll say it again. You know, it'd be an interesting research study to look at over 40 years, Mike, how many UNC Charlotte students, MPA students and others that you have mentored and guided and sent them on to great careers. And of course, we have a number that are currently working in the COG right now, in the Centralina Regional Council right now. So again, I just want to thank you on behalf of the university, because again, this goes unnoticed sometimes, but you know, just you've touched so many students over the years and sent them on to great careers in public service. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Barr. Anyone else? I'd like to share a few comments. When I first met Mike, I think he started doing this about the time I became a delegate here at Centralina, on the executive board. And of course, I always show up early at the office. We were at the office downtown Charlotte, and I was making my rounds to speak to folks and just become familiar with everything that Centralina stood for. And I walked by Mike's office, and my former line of work was the fire department and doing fire inspections. And Mike's office was the messiest office I had ever seen. There's papers stacked up all over the place. And I didn't know Mike at that time. I just seen him, just knew who he was. So I quickly went around to another Centralina staff member and I said, that guy in there has the messiest office. I'm surprised the fire marshal hasn't come in and made him clean it up. It's truly a fire hazard. It was so much stuff stacked up. But since they moved into this building, Mike keeps the meter office right down the hall from where I'm sitting right now. And I do look at that every time I come in. So Mike, you're doing a better job keeping your office cleaned up. Mike is one of the most passionate people I've seen doing as someone that does his job. I mean, I think any line of work we're in, as an elected official or whatever job you're in, you're passionate about what you do. And I've never seen anyone more passionate than Mike Maness. I've always enjoyed talking with him, hearing him speak. I learn a lot. When you talk about economic development, you talk about jobs, you talk about budget sustainability, everything that our local government, city or county stand for. And a lot of that's due to Mike Maness. And I got just a very brief overview of the community economic development here at Centralina, and I'm going to personalize this a little bit. I'm going to add Mike's name to it. Mike Maness addresses our regional opportunities and challenges. Mike Maness offers technical assistance, staff and expertise, and I emphasize expertise, to communities that help leverage resources to improve housing, public infrastructure, and downtown revitalizations. Mike Maness has done all that. And this man right here beside me, Mike Maness is part of all that. He has helped this area grow. He's helped this region grow. Mike, I've known you for about 10 years, and I've watched you work. I've listened to you. I read your documents. The Greater Prosperity, that's one of the, I keep that and refer to it a lot. So I thank you for helping me learn more about Centralina, helping me learn more about this Centralina region. And I think it's helped all of us, those who have been associated with you. You've done a great job. And I thank you so much. Anyone else before we move on?
So I'll just say with a last word that we won't attempt to fill your shoes, Mike. We'll just make the shoe a little bit bigger and hope that someone's feet can live alongside of yours and your legacy. And I know you're not going far, and we'll have you back real soon to continue to collaborate with us. But we'd like to hand the floor over to you for any remarks that you'd like to make to the group.
Yep.
Well, there you go. Skate to the puck. I tell you, it's hard to respond to all of those comments and accolades. I'm a little embarrassed at this point about it, but I do know that I have so thoroughly enjoyed my opportunity. It's kind of hitting me more and more each day that I'm glad the last 10 years, as I came to the end here, was the opportunity to really rock it, and I had some great help. Victoria has now moved on, but Victoria was a rock star. We did lots of things together as a team with Centralina and all the members of Centralina to really make a difference. And that's what was the fun part. How could you really rock it and skate to the puck? And we did. And I can't be any more satisfied nor grateful for that team that I've been able to work with. And then all the board members and elected officials who really are in the hot seat, really, but to be able to help those folks and do their job and do what they're passionate about. They had to run, they had to get elected. So there's a commitment and a passion from each and every one of the electeds in that world. And so it's kind of a perfect smash up. I mean, and it put me in the spot. My wife told me when we moved up here, I'm like a kid in the candy store, because I had folks like Cliff and Donnie and Ronnie Bryant and all the other IEDC guys around the region. Is like a NFL football team of IEDC developers, but I was able to jump in there. And I always refer to myself as like the doc on the end of the bench, or either the trainer, the water boy trainer at the end of the bench, or the doc, while these guys went out and did what the team needed to do. And I was happy with that role, and we tried to do the best we could. And so some folks know about the medical issues I had over the last 4 or 5 years, but the Lord's blessed me, the Lord's healed me. And I said earlier in some of the other meetings that, I've dodged a couple bullets, but then it's been 4 or 5 years of that. I don't think I should be trying to keep on dodging many more bullets, but take this time to move on into the things with my family and my wife and others, and look at a different chapter. And I'm really looking forward to that, but I will always remember and be grateful for the time that I was able to spend with all of you and this job here. And so I thank you so much for all these comments and all the best wishes. It's been a really great time, and I thank each and every one of you. God bless.
Thank you, Mike. Again, congratulations, Mike Manis. Congratulations again to all the Region of Excellence Awards recipients. It's been a great celebration for the last 40 minutes. It's great to be a part of this. And Mike, I know a little bit of what retirement's about, so you're going to enjoy it, and just good luck to you. We'll now move on to the Board of Delegates meeting. Those of you who joined us for the award ceremony and for Mike's celebration are free to leave Zoom if you wish at this time. Thank you all. I'll now call to order the meeting of the Centralina Board of Delegates on May 12th, 2021. To help move through the agenda efficiently, please remain muted except when making a motion, a second, voting, or posing a question or comment. Be sure to state your name for the record when making a motion, a second, or when speaking, as our clerk, Kelly Weston, has to keep a record of all this. We will monitor attendance as delegates have joined Zoom. In the interest of time, we will not call the names of delegates participating via computer, since your names were recorded when you logged into the meeting and are displayed in the participant list. Kelly will call the names of delegates whose names are not shown on the participant list. Names will be called in alphabetical order by last name. I'll now ask the clerk to call the roll. So Kelly will call the roll, and we'll state whether a quorum is present or not.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, I will be calling the names of delegates who are not appearing in the participant list. Dolores Chambers, Valerie Coffey, John Crump, Kathy Davis, Rusty Eford, Bart Farmer, Bill Feather, Mike Head, Dolores High, Jean Haupt, Bob Hovis, Jamie Lean, Tony Long, Jay McCosh, Autumn Michael, Virginia Morgan, Lance Munger, Christine Poinsett, Sandy Rayleigh, David Scholl, Katie Fells, Jeff Watson. And again, if I did not call your name, it's because we're able to see you on the participant list. And Mr. Chairman, we do have quorum.
Thank you, Kelly. We do have a quorum, so we'll proceed. I have a few procedural points I'd like to note. First, at the February Board of Delegates meeting, last time we were all here, a delegate raised a point of order inquiring if nay votes could be counted in lieu of conducting a roll call vote. The board proceeded to vote on action items by voicing nays and abstentions. Following that meeting, Centralina staff consulted with the school government on this voting method and were advised that a roll call vote is required for meetings involving remote participation. For that reason, we will proceed with voting on action items via roll call. Second, on the consent agenda, you'll notice we brought back a few items from the February meeting. We hope everyone had a chance to review the agenda and the consent items that Kelly sent out and see what I'm mentioning here. The approval of the FY22 budget is back. We held a public hearing on the budget in February, and for the state's laws governing remote meetings will require to accept public comments for 24 hours after the hearing. Since this requirement does not allow us to vote and hold the hearing in the same meeting, we are voting on the budget during today's meeting. The officer elections in the October meeting minutes are back. Because we did not follow the roll call voting procedure for these items at the February meeting, we must hold a roll call vote on them during today's meeting. Lastly, we have a resolution opposing proposed local government zoning reform. This resolution is in opposition to the Increased Housing Opportunities Bill pending in the General Assembly. It's on today's agenda following the review and recommendation by the Executive Board in its April meeting. With no amendments to the agenda, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda and then a second?
Mr. Chairman, Jarvis Whitburn, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Larkin Eggleston, second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. I will now ask the clerk to call the roll. Is many are in favor of the motion to approve the consent agenda? As their names are called, answer yes. Those opposed will answer no. Kelly?
Karen Alexander,
Yes.
Peter Ashuto,
Yes.
Bobby Compton,
Yes.
Larkin Eggleston,
Yes.
Martha Sue Hall,
Yes, Martha Sue Hall, yes.
George Harris,
Yes.
Daryl Hennett,
Yes.
Bob, Angelia James,
Yes.
Andy Langford,
Yes.
Corinthia Lewis Lemon,
Somebody is not muted that ought to be.
Yes, please mute yourself. Thank you. Yes.
Kay McCaffin,
Yes.
Ken McCool,
Yes.
Pedro Mori,
Yes.
William Morgan,
Yes.
Susan Neely,
Yes.
Christina Polish, Thurman Ross,
Yes.
Troy Selberg,
Yes.
Lynn Shu,
Yes.
Jennifer Stepp,
Yes.
Amelia Stinson Wesley,
Yes.
David Williams,
Yes.
Jonathan Williams,
Yes.
and Jarvis Woodburn.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, that was unanimous.
Thank you, Kelly. The motion passes. We only have one item on the regular business agenda. It's item 5. Everybody turn to item 5, please. And it's regional program overview for FY22 work plan session. And our executive director will cover that. Geraldine Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All right. Kelly, can we go to the first slide, please? Thank you. All right, good evening, everyone. This evening, our main agenda item is to focus on 2 items. First is a follow-up on our commitment that we shared at the February board meeting. We want to seek to build your knowledge and familiarity with Centralina's core business functions that relate to our mission, as you see here on the screen. At this meeting, we'll be focusing on how our organization leads on regional collaboration. At our August Board of Delegates meeting, we'll focus on the impact and the work that we do with our local government members. And then finally, at the October board meeting, we're going to focus on how we serve individuals through our work as the Workforce Development Board and the Area Agency on Aging. So tonight the focus is really on regionalism for a little bit of a deeper dive understanding of how we work as an organization. After that, we'll flow right into a short overview and in-depth breakout room discussion that will allow you the opportunity to give us really important feedback that will go into how we shape and finalize our fiscal year 22 work plan. Since I started at Centralina, it's been really important to me and the organization to have a very clear set of goals and strategies that shape how we expend our resources and how we work every day to recognize and live our mission of service to your communities and the region. And as part of formulating that work plan, we are very clear to proactively engage the board as well as our regional managers group to get your input to make sure that what we're working on matches the needs and expectations of the board and our communities. So this is your opportunity tonight when we go into breakouts to share your views on the issues that matter in your community and how we can collaborate as a region. And we'll wrap up the session tonight with some discussion of next steps and what will be coming to the executive board in June for approval. You can go on to the next slide, Kelly. So as a regional council, regionalism is in our DNA. It's really, it might seem kind of funny that we're spending some time tonight focusing on how we lead regional collaboration, but we want to make sure that you as the board has a very clear understanding of how we approach this work and how it is really embedded in our view of our services, our planning work, and our implementation work. So our work to lead regional collaboration really falls into these two areas here. How we lead and the access that we give our constituents, your constituents across the region. So we're going to dive into the framework plans in just a moment. So I'll focus first on our boards and our leadership networks. So it really starts with you. It starts with you as our board of delegates as a neutral platform for knowledge sharing and for action. But our boards and advisory councils and peer networks go beyond all of you that are on the call tonight. Our Workforce Development Board, our Economic Development District Board, our Region F Aging Advisory Council, our regional managers groups, and scores of other peer networks that our staff leads. We take the stewardship of these regional conversations extremely seriously. And the proactive engagement that we have through these platforms really becomes the backbone of how we listen to understand your needs and then align our work accordingly. So your participation in our boards and your staff's participation in these networks really matters because it's our touch point and our opportunity to make sure that we're aligning our work with where the region needs to go and where the region is today. We also lead through our shared regional agenda for advocacy at the state and the federal level. So this is a really important tool for us in how we get a collective agenda accomplished through advocating for resources, advocating for policy, and for regulation that will enable our teams to do the work that we need to do. So we're excited. We have Leslie Mazingo on the call. We've had a long relationship with Strategics Consulting, and I'm really excited to actually share with the board tonight a huge win for Centralina that we were able to confirm just this week. One of our members of the congressional delegation, Congresswoman Alma Adams, submitted a project as part of the member-directed spending for the reauthorization of the Surface Transportation Act to direct funding to Centralina to complete a regional intelligent transportation systems plan that will enable, if funded, there's still an if, we've made it one step but haven't crossed the finish line yet. If Congress decides to fund this project, this will enable our organization to develop a comprehensive plan that will enable technology to be deployed across our roadway network that will facilitate the safe and efficient movement of people and goods across our region's transportation network of roads and highways. So we're really excited that such a strong partnership that we've developed with our congressional delegation over the last years has yielded this potential investment of over $2 million in our organization. So a huge thanks to Leslie and to Michelle Nance and her team for working on that. So the last piece I'll just mention here on regional collaboration is our services, information, and data. So if you're in our region, we serve you. We serve you with our aging network. We serve you with our workforce board services, with our service to local governments and technical assistance. And providing information and data is absolutely critical to that need. So these are just a few examples of our toolkit for regionalism. If you go to the next slide, Kelly, I just want to spend a minute talking about what I call the family of regional plans. So we recognize Mike for his leadership and the Prosperity of Greater Charlotte plan, And that's one of the plans in our regional family. But the foundation or the founding member of this family is really Connect Our Future, our regional plan. And in just a moment, you're going to hear about some work that we've done this year to reflect on the progress that we've made in connecting our future and what this means for the work ahead of us in terms of our regional priorities and goals. But the plans that you see represented on the screen here really are our blueprint for what we need to work on. These are not just plans that sit on a shelf. These are actively implemented. These are plans that our chairman not only carries around with him, but our staff, and we constantly refer to them because they're really our North Star for how our region remains competitive and how we continue to have a fantastic quality of life. Just a couple of notes here. The Prosperity for Greater Charlotte Economic Development Plan, we just released a progress report that talks about what we've done so far this year on implementing that plan. That progress report is on our website and will be featured in the newsletter edition that comes out next week. We are also, in our work plan for this coming year, we'll be focused on updating. We're due for our 5-year update of the Comprehensive Economic Development Plan. And that's a real opportunity for our region to think about how we respond to COVID recovery and moving our region forward when it comes to economic development strategy. I'll also make another plug for our Connect Beyond regional planning in transit. We will be hosting a series of briefings on May 18th. All of you should have received an invitation from me. There are 2 opportunities to do a deeper dive in this plan, and we really encourage all of our delegates to participate in these briefings because this plan will come back to you for endorsement this fall, and we really want to make sure everyone is informed on what's included. So now I'd like to turn it over to Michelle Nance. Michelle is our Regional Planning Director, who I know all of you know, and I'm going to ask Michelle to walk you through some of the highlights that we've uncovered through our analysis of the Connect Our Future plan progress. Michelle?
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to be here and talk a little bit about Connect Our Future and a project we're doing to really take a look back to inform our future and what our work plan should encompass. So next slide, please. Those of you who have been delegates for a while, you've often heard us refer to Connect Our Future and how we use that project. And you just heard Geraldine outline that we use the elements of this plan to really direct everything that we do from year to year. So the purpose of the presentation tonight is just to give you some information about a project we've undertaken to identify the local and regional accomplishments that have stemmed from the plan, and really, more importantly, to determine what work remains. Where do we need to focus our efforts over the next few years? And so just as a quick refresh, what is Connect Our Future? In 2012, the region was facing the prospects of potentially overwhelming population growth, a regional population that would almost double by 2050. And so communities, educators, nonprofits, businesses, individuals from across 14 counties and 2 states got together to really think about what are some shared solutions for the challenges that we know we're going to face as this population gets here. And we all knew that we wanted to keep our core values, keep our local identity, make sure that our land use, transportation, and quality of life, stayed the same or improved through the process. So the Connect Our Future framework, it really helps communities decide how to best use the limited resources that you have and to serve the growth that's anticipated through 2050. Next slide. So the plan established 10 growth priorities, and just real quickly, you can see them here on the screen, but they relate to increasing transportation choices, improving access to parks, supporting communities and local farms, maximizing return on investments for our infrastructure. Next slide. But then also growing jobs closer to home, reducing our commute costs, increasing housing choices, and improving water and air quality. So that just kind of gives you an overview of kind of what this plan was aiming to do. And this was based on, again, 3 years of intensive engagement. Next slide. Also, the region looked at 4 different scenarios on how we might grow, and each county chose the scenario that best aligned with the Connect Our Future priorities that they value locally. But then when we quilted all of this together, what you can see is that the regional growth plan highlights the desire to grow in multiple centers connected by regional transportation options. So what's been accomplished though, since, between 2015 and 2021? What we're doing now is we're evaluating those accomplishments, highlighting some specific data and the stories that may inform new actions and priorities. And while that growth while the analysis that we're doing really is bounded in data that we're pulling, we're also doing interviews of planners and managers and others across the region that are most familiar with the projects in their local area. And we'll be spotlighting some of those projects as we go through. And how are we actually going to communicate this back? We actually have a series of newsletter articles that we're creating. And we're looking at 3 core areas. 1 is land use, 2, transportation, and 3, community health. And I know everybody's mind goes to COVID when we talk about health, but what we're talking about when we say community health, it's everything from access to healthy foods to increasing those opportunities for physical activity, whether that's recreation centers, parks, and those sorts of things. So next slide. We've actually already done 2 articles that focused on land use. And we're most interested in thinking about where is the region growing and what form is that development taking? And so just a few of the key findings. Don't have time to go into all of them, but just a few nuggets that you might find interesting. Obviously, the population's increased. The map that you see here, it's kind of a little small, but primarily in Mecklenburg County, it's been very dramatic. And then in the county surrounding that, pretty dramatic as well. The land consumed in the region between 2012 and 2018, it is the size of the city of Concord. So if you're familiar with Concord and how large that is, that's the land that we've consumed as a region over those just few years. And while single family residential really dominates, the development that's occurred during that time, the percent change in the number of units in single family has actually been less and has been outpaced by the percent change in townhomes and apartments and duplexes. So that was quite interesting. So those types of homes are really growing faster over the last decade than single family residential. A lot of communities are updating their land use plans right now, as is required by the statutes that just came out. But one of the things they're doing that's interesting is that they're limiting the land that's identified for like lower density single family residential and actually replacing that with rural living. And the reason they're doing that is because they really want to force a very intentional conversation about the type of growth that's occurring. They're not making any more land, and the communities recognize that, and they want to be more intentional about what comes into their community. Also seeing a lot more infill development and redevelopment because of a lot of things, land costs, increased traffic congestion, and those sorts of things, of course, pre-COVID. Then, the Connect Our Future place types are being used in land use plans all across the region, and the data is being used to identify where new growth should go, but also in planning for water infrastructure, sewer infrastructure, and actually schools. So some of the biggest challenges that are coming out from our interviews are just this ongoing need to sync up land use and transportation investments. Promoting downtown development is kind of always an ongoing issue, and the continued need for supporting cross-jurisdictional coordination activities. So again, we will get into a lot more later on that, but those were just a few tidbits on land use. So in the next months, between now and October, really, we're going to be diving into a couple more issues. Next slide. Real quick hit on transportation. We're going to look at the changing attitudes towards travel behavior. How has COVID impacted travel? How is the state, regional, and local transportation organizations, how are they working together to meet the needs of the system? And next slide, community health, as I mentioned, do we have convenient access to parks, recreation, healthy food all throughout the region? So in addition, we're also going to be looking at, those three focus areas, but also some emerging issues related to, equity issues that are observed across the region. And we're going to highlight some of those things that we're seeing. So all in all, stay tuned. More to come. The things that we're learning out of this retrospective, this look back, are really going to inform where we go over the next, 3 years. So we really look forward to continuing this conversation, letting you know what we're finding, and then having a conversation with you during the next year about how this changes Centralina's work plans. So thank you very much. I'm here for questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Can you go to the next slide, Kelly? So just to reemphasize a couple points that Michelle mentioned, are the family of plans that are really anchored by Connect Our Future really set out this regional blueprint for us that answer these questions. How do we grow sustainably? How do we move efficiently and safely? How do we prosper and compete and have great quality of life? How do we improve our health and age with dignity and support our local governments? So really our work plan that we have been driving the last 2 years and heading into this 3rd year of our current strategic plan really seeks to answer these questions through concrete actions and strategies. And just wanted to emphasize to the board the fact that plans are great, but implementation is better. And I think all of our departments really focus on action, and that's why it's so important for us to have a solid foundation or blueprint that's rooted in these plans, but it's really the annual work plans or actions that we seek to hang our hat on. Next slide, Kelly. So just to reemphasize a couple points before we send you into breakout groups to hear directly from you. This coming fiscal year is the final year of the 3-year strategic plan that was formulated during the first couple months that I joined Centralina. Our priorities for the coming fiscal year are, in addition to the goals that we've set out, the priorities are really to make progress towards those goals, to focus in on how we support COVID-19 recovery across the region in really holistic and comprehensive ways. And also, as Michelle hinted at, to prepare this year for a new round of a new strategic planning period that will begin in fiscal year 23, so another 3-year cycle. So we're going to be doing a lot of engagement and a lot of listening this fiscal year as part of our work plan to make sure that we have a clear understanding of what those priorities should be that we focus on for the next 3-year period. All right, so you've heard from us about how we work regionally. You've heard a little bit about the family of plans and the foundation of Connect Our Future. And now we really want to focus in on the coming fiscal year. We know it's been a tough year for everyone, for all of our local governments, and you all have a lot on your plates in terms of what your communities are really seeking to address in your own budgets and your own work plans in your communities. So what we hope to do tonight is really listen, to hear from you about the needs and concerns in your communities, and to identify what are those opportunities to work together as a region, be that on COVID recovery, infrastructure investment, broadband, a whole host of issues. And how we'd like to have this conversation is by using the breakout group tool. Kelly, can you go to the next slide? So what we're going to do in just a moment, I'll ask Kelly to launch the breakout rooms. We're giving you a choice of topics for you to join a conversation on. So in just a moment, you're going to see at the bottom of your screen a breakout group little 4-square bar. And that will allow you, if you click on that, you'll have the opportunity to join a room. And there are 4 choices. That growth, you'll be with Michelle to talk about growth and how we change in our communities and as a region. There's a mobility room. Oh, Kelly's we ran into a Zoom issue. Of course. Kelly, can you make me the host real quick? Try to do, it worked, we were doing so well with technology, and then all of a sudden, okay. Hold on, bear with me 1 second, folks. All right, now we're going to open the room, and you'll be able to join a conversation. Hold on 1 second. We're covered. We create all rooms manually. One second. All right, we're going to open the room. There'll be a Centralina staff member in that room, and hopefully this works. Let me just scan these. There's Jason. And they'll guide you through a conversation, but again, the focus is to hear from you, and then we will give our team members the opportunity to share with you a couple of highlights about their work in the coming fiscal year before we all wrap up and come back together. So I'm going to open the rooms now, and you should get a prompt to join a room.
Geraldine, this is Mike. I'm getting a prompt for breakout room 2, but I don't want to join.
I'm going to move you. Just go there.
Okay, thank you.
What am I missing? Where's David? David's already there. Okay. Anyone else having trouble joining a room?
I'm trying to join health and aging, but it keeps putting me in group 1.
Okay. Who's this? Kay?
Hey, McCath, Bessemer City.
Okay. Bear with me a moment, Kay.
And this is Linda Geraldine. I can't get out. Mine hasn't given me the option to go into 4. It says 3.
Are you supposed to be in 3?
No,
I'm sorry.
4 is
I'm
helping
sorry.
it.
I'm sorry.
Got it.
My screw up. There we go. David.
Hey, this is Susan Neely. I was wanting to join the health and aging, and I don't have an option.
I got you right there.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay, you wanted to go to health? There you go. Did I get everybody? Troy, where's Mike? Mike. Sorry, Mike. Mike is going to 3. There we go. What room would you like to go to?
Which one don't have any people in it? I'll do that. This one popped up on my screen, so I just look.
Transportation. I'm gonna make Kelly the driver again.
Hey Geraldine, this is Lauren.
Hey, Lauren.
I do not have any ability to do anything in here, so, and I didn't get any announcements from you, so I don't have any. I'm useless.
Not at all, Lauren. All right, I'm gonna go
time.
Perfect timing. I'm muted. Kelly, can you go to the next slide? Thank you. All right, so thank you all for bearing with us in the beginning on those little technical issues. I hope you enjoyed your conversations and your breakouts. There were some delegates who weren't able to join us this evening, and we are having our regional managers group meeting next week to get their input. So there'll be a short survey that will go out like we did last year to provide another forum for providing additional feedback or suggestions that you didn't get to share tonight. But the door is open, as well if you want to reach out to me or any of the directors who you spoke with this evening. Just in terms of our next steps, we're going to synthesize all this input that you gave us tonight, and then in the subsequent survey and the regional managers meeting, we're seeking to balance here your member needs, our strategic goals in the current work plan, the emerging conditions that we're facing, especially with COVID recovery, and also the innovative ideas that our departments want to put forward in our work plan. We'll be preparing the work plan, and that will go to the executive board for approval at their June meeting, and then at the August Board of Delegates meetings, we'll make sure we'll highlight a few things for all of you and showcase how your input was used. So thank you again for participating this evening. That wraps up our agenda item, and I can turn it back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you to our Executive Director for putting together this item 5 on the overview and the work plan. We'll see more of that to come, especially FY 22. So thank you. We're pretty much right on time as according to the agenda. We'll move on to the comments from the Board of Delegates and Centralina staff. Any comments from any of our delegates is online, or Centralina staff who's also with us? I'd love to hear from you. Any comments?
This is Martha Sue. Great meeting. I can't wait to go back in person though.
I agree, Martha Sue. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. And you're right. This virtual stuff, I haven't got used to it. I still kind of flutter through it. I can't wait to see everyone in person when the time comes. I want to thank the Centralina staff for participating in our meetings. Again, I can't see you in person, but you do a great job when you're here at the office and what you do out in the field. And it's nice to have you join us when we do these workshops and overviews, et cetera, to help us out. Any further comments before we move on? Next comment is from our Executive Director, Mrs. Gardner.
Nothing for me.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, okay. Now I guess it's my turn. Just something real brief. The save the date for the next Board of Delegate meeting. Next time we all get together as this large group will be Wednesday, August 11th at 5 p.m. Wednesday, August 11th at 5 p.m. I assume it's going to be virtual, or we don't know
Maybe
yet?
in person.
Okay, we're going to work through this, what Martha Sue just said, and maybe in person in August. Now, just kind of pencil that in. It might get marked through, but we'll see. We'll work towards in person on August 11th at 5 p.m. If not, we'll do the same thing we're doing right now. Also, I just want to bring up this. I had a meeting with my manager this morning regarding the 2020 census and the upcoming elections. Some of us are struggling through that. We have, elections this fall. I think Charlotte does too, and many others that are hearing me right now. So we are working with our attorney because there may be some legalities involved. We've contacted the League of Municipalities, And some of you may want to contact the county counterparts, the Association of County Commissioners, if anyone needs any assistance or having questions regarding that, because it is a very sticky issue regarding the late census count and the upcoming elections this fall. So that's something that personally we're dealing with, and I know some of you are too. Now I want to read something as far as our delegates go. Myself and the U.S. delegates is our mission. Keep this in mind. Centralina Regional Council leads regional collaboration and sparks local action to expand opportunity and improve quality of life. We do this through creative problem solving, innovative service delivery, and support to our local governments. Remember to keep that in mind, and also as a delegate, you set the strategic direction for how Centralina fulfills its mission. You shape our annual work plan. You plan our federal and state advocacy agenda, and you discuss shared issues and lead collaborative problem solving. And that's some of what we did in that work plan that we just did. So I thank you all for being here, for your assistance, for joining us. Any questions or comments, you can get a hold of me, get a hold of our executive director, get a hold of our clerk, Kelly West, who does an outstanding job for us, or anyone here at Centralina Regional Council. From that, I'll take a motion to adjourn in a second.
Martha Sue, so moved.
Second.
Thank you. Have a motion and a second. Thank you so much. Meeting adjourned.